What's up, everybody? Welcome back to your favorite New York Jets subscription podcast, Badlands. I'm your host, Joe Caporoso, joined as always by Connor Rogers, recording this about 72 hours before he gets married because there's no days off, there's no breaks. It doesn't matter. The game doesn't stop. CR seems cool as a cucumber. How we doing? How we feeling? Next time I see you, you're going to be all tuxed, suited up. We're going to be looking fresh out there. How's it going?
I'm excited, obviously. I just sometimes I just lay awake at night, and I just wonder, is Nathaniel Hackett going to get fired on Friday? or are the Jets going to give, Justin Simmons $12 million? Or, I'm just joking. None of these things
Meeks called this out. They got everything done early in the week, which is nice, but there is still very much a chance something could happen. We'll have a laptop handy at our table just in case of an emergency.
Epic and very on brand if there was some kind of emergency reaction at my wedding reception, which, no hard feelings. I don't care. Kristen literally lives this life of me just running to this microphone to record reactions to emergency everything's. Yeah, you're right. I'm not sweating anything. It's really the whole feeling of like, damn, this is finally here. You get to that point, and you know this, where it's like you're just waiting, and you're at the point where you're like, I just want this to happen already. I'm kind of just tidying up things. I have a really cool film room that I taped in advance for the week I'm on my honeymoon that I think people will really, really like. So that'll be out. And here we go. The Badlands table will be rocking and rolling.
That's right. Well, if there's ever a venue full of people you want emergency news to drop at, everyone will be together and have the reps.
you can cover just about everything from
fantasy,
fantasy, Mets, Jets.
There'll be microphones everywhere, I'm sure, in case of an emergency.
Yeah, it's true. I didn't think of that.
And yes, you're a true sicko in that you pre-recorded a film room that will run next week. I'll keep War Room in the pod rolling with the rest of our team as you enjoy your honeymoon. Content won't stop, but we got to let Connor stop for a little bit. Also, I'm 37. I have 2 kids. I've been traveling a lot for work. I'm also an idiot sometimes. So Saturday, I woke up in Boston. I had taken my wife out for her birthday and Mother's Day, and I texted Connor. I said, 7 days. Here we go. Countdown. And text me back like a Vince McMahon gif, and he was like 6 days. And I was like, uh-oh. So I brought up the wedding website, and it was 6 days, not 7 days. Fortunately, the hotel was able to change our reservation. We are fine. Fortunately, our babysitter, my mom, is able to still watch the kids. And we're going to be partying a day earlier than I thought, which is great. I got my suit ready to go. And, of course, we actually did get an inordinate amount of Jets news early in the week of your wedding week. So we get, first off, the post-Rex Hogan, Chad Alexander front office signing everyone effectively immediately. I believe every rookie is locked up. Except for Corley at this point, but I think that should move quick. Fashion News done, and we don't have to deal with offset language or the long wait. We'll circle back around to that, and we'll circle back around to the Martini Nate story, which of course we're going to talk about. But let's lead with, we know who the Jets are opening with. And yet again, they are opening in primetime on Monday Night Football, on the road this time against the San Francisco 49ers, plus 5.5. Both of us kind of had a feeling this could happen, so I can't say I'm shocked. I also can't say I'm thrilled. What's your initial reaction to our Jets back in Monday night to start the season?
I don't like it at all, honestly. And I've been very honest with the few people that have asked me this today. I did radio up in Buffalo. My buddies in WGR that do such a good job up there. They're so fun to talk to because they were like, how do you feel about Monday night again after last year? And I'm like, well, there's the whole, Rodgers again on Monday Night Football, all the very, very low-hanging fruit, horrific jokes of, he could tear his Achilles again, or just like the dumbest stuff on the internet that it's like, at least make it funny. But getting away from all that, because none of that goes into my thoughts on why I don't like it, honestly. Why I don't like it is it just feels so distant. Like you have to wait again to play till Monday night. You're not on opening Sunday, which sucks. It really sucks. You're playing the Niners. Let's be real. I guess the league and the networks maybe view like this matchup as having juice, and they're really good rosters. You can There's a world where you could sit there and go, the Niners have the best roster in the NFC, the Jets have the best roster in the AFC. And I get it. Like, there's an argument. Like, there's a lot of teams in that conversation, but both teams are in those conversations. So that's cool. But other than that, like, what does this matchup mean? Robert Saleh used to be the DC for the Niners. The 49ers, once upon a time, didn't want Aaron Rodgers in that era.
Kinlaw revenge game.
Kinlaw revenge game. Leonard Floyd was the guy that hurt Rodgers last year. Now he's with the Niners. Like, it just feels like the storylines aren't any fun. It's not really like there's not. Saleh hasn't coached the Niners in years. I mean, the Niners have been in a Super Bowl since then. So I don't know. For me, and the Jets fly. I don't like the matchup for the Jets. And it's not that the Jets are going to lose. Like, I'm not saying that in May when the game is in September. That's not what I'm saying. I'm saying it's like they fly across the country all the way to play on Monday night. There's just nothing. It's impossible to not be, jacked up out of your mind about the opening weekend of NFL football. It is unbelievable. There's nothing they could have done. They could have had the Jets play an expansion team on Sunday morning in London at 9, and we'd all be out of our minds. Yes. But in terms of like the tier of how crazy you get, I don't get the infatuation with the thought that this needed to be the Monday night football matchup. And I personally don't love the Jets opening the season on Monday Night Football because I am a traditional football fan that also happens to work game days. And to me, I just absolutely love football on Sunday. It's just a beautiful thing.
Yeah, I found as I've gotten older, I prefer the Sunday 1:00 games. And we took for granted the year they had all these 1:00 games a few years ago.
Because they sucked.
Yes, exactly. And now I think, we're recording this at like 8:00 Tuesday night. The schedule will likely leak pretty heavily throughout the day tomorrow. We'll have a separate pod on the feed Thursday reacting to the full schedule. Not from Connor, probably from me. Well, we got to let Connor get ready for his goddamn wedding. But I agree with everything you said. I think it's tough to fly across the country and play the best team in the NFC last year. I think a lot of the storylines around it have sort of like negative, bad vibe connotations.
Yeah,
it's
not feel-good stories.
They're not. These aren't feel-good stories. I would have been perfectly content opening at like 1:00 against the Titans or Cardinals or like the Patriots, something like nondescript where the Jets were comfortable favorites with the C or D broadcasting team from CBS and not the whole like show. But I think, and I could be proven wrong, I think this is again an early indication that much like last year, the Jets are going to be America's team when it comes to primetime. 4 or 5 primetime games, a London game, maybe the Black Friday game at home again. There's not going to be a lot of Sunday 1:00 games. I think this is an early indicator of that. They're just going to run this back because whether we like it or not, there's a lot of third-party interest in this team, in Aaron Rodgers. He's a lightning rod for everything on and off the field. The Jets went all in this offseason. They got Tyron Smith. They got Mike Williams. They got Morgan Moses. They have spent aggressively to go win now. Breece Hall, Garrett Wilson, Sauce Gardner, really developing into one of the faces of the league. I just feel like this is the first of many for them in prime time, on the road, playing at unconventional times. And it puts it on the coaching staff. How do you make sure the team's ready, for that extra day of waiting, playing on the road, playing in a different time zone? And then, the assumption from most, and this would be nice, but I don't know if the schedule makers are going to be nice, is week 2 in Arizona. So you can kind of stay out on the West Coast and kind of work your way back and not have to fly across the country and then fly across the country for a home opener. I'm kind of keeping my fingers crossed for something like that with a week 3 home opener against like a New England, a team again. It's so funny to be using New England in this slot now, but against a team that they'll be potential favorites against. We know Miami and Buffalo are playing week 2 as of this recording on Thursday night. So it's not going to be one of those teams. But it's nothing to do with, it's less to do with primetime. It's more to do with playing like one of the 3 best teams in the league in their building in a different time zone. That's hard for any team.
Yeah.
I guess you could make the case, is it better to get it out of the way early? If the Niners are going to be 13-4, could it take them 7 or 8 weeks to really hit their groove? And like, is it better to just catch them early, get that game out of the way, and then have your other easier on paper games down the road?
There's an argument for that, of course. I think that there's a couple things to that. One, you're looking at a game where you got to take on one of the best pass rushers in football, one of the best defenders in football, Nick Bosa. You feel good about having Tyron Smith week 1, right? And to be fair, I have a lot of confidence in Olu Fashanu, so it has changed a little bit. But the point is, Yeah, you'd rather be week 1 healthy and maybe some kind of rust. Although Shanahan, the counter is Shanahan has the whole summer to prepare for this game, right? Like that's always
kind of terrifying. Now I like our defensive staff much better than our offensive staff, but that's kind of terrifying.
It's an impossible spot for any defensive staff in the league. Kyle Shanahan has had months to prepare for this game. Kyle Shanahan knows the defensive staff inside and out. It's weird. There's always both arguments to it all. And if the Jets lose, not who cares?
At a conference loss, it's not going to kill.
No, it feels like if the Jets lose somewhat competitively, you're like, okay, keep it moving. If the Jets win, the hype train for the Jets will leave the station week 17-0 of the NFL season.
Who else are they going to lose to? It's the hardest game on their schedule.
It's the hardest game on their schedule, and they go on the road to start the season. Everybody, yes. The takes will be all about the Jets from Tuesday to Thursday that week. So,
we know the Jetsiest thing would be to go out and win like 24-14. Everyone's like, oh my God.
And then lose to Arizona.
And then they'll lose by like 15 to Arizona. Kind of like what happened with Dallas last year after they smoked the Jets and they go out, everyone picks Dallas in their survivor pool and they lose to Arizona. That's the kind of thing that's
football.
Jets like. That's football. But especially in September, which is kind of like an extended preseason now.
That's true too. It's interesting. I mean, the Jets are a veteran team now, too, with a young core. They have an interesting balance that you feel good about them. Now, veterans don't play a lot in the preseason, so that argument stands. It's an extension of the preseason, but veterans also don't need the same kind of ramp up that guys that have never played in the NFL have before. So it goes both ways. I mean, we'll talk about this game plenty. From the actual build-up and the storylines, it doesn't really do a lot for me. I think there was a lot of better ways they could have gone. And it's also interesting to me, I guess this doesn't really matter, like other non-Jets fans and schedule makers wouldn't look at this. But if you're the NFL, there's part of it too, where if you gave them kind of like a cupcake opponent week 1, and Rodgers went out there and threw 3 touchdowns and the Jets win 28-10, like you have week 1 storylines built back in that Aaron Rodgers is back. Like and then like the hype train for that leaves the station. Now you're just in like an all-out dogfight where defense and running the football and like it. To be honest with you, and maybe I'm wrong about this will probably be a hideous game. These are 2 teams that want to run the hell out of the football. They have really talented defenses. The Jets are flying across the country. Like maybe I'm wrong. I don't know if it's the offensive thriller that it would have been if this game was in November.
I'm telling you right now, and I won't change my mind. Right now, the Jets are plus 5.5. I haven't seen the number on the over-under. I'm taking the under. I'm taking the Jets to cover. I think it's like a 16-13, ugly, ugly game.
I'd probably parlay both of those.
Well, put them right together. And also, Ayuk, hold out. Get that contract. You don't need to play week 1. Send a message. Sit out for a little bit of a
storyline.
You don't need to suit up week 1. We'll get Sauce to deal with Debo a little bit, and that would be nice. But yes, under, Jets cover. We have a lot of time to talk about this. And
Too much time.
As we're recording this, we're probably getting the leaks, but I'm going to go with we get Arizona week 2, a home opener that's friendly on paper. I do think they'll play in London against the Jaguars or Vikings, probably in October, which will be fun, and we'll hopefully be able to do something around that. And I'm guessing they close with Miami, and my early season preview guide is that game is for the AFC East. Anyway,